Let me tell you something, fans. I'm just wondering, is it Halloween already? Nah, that's not for another 4 weeks. I mean, this whole thing about creepy clowns starting to get on my nerves, if you know what I mean. I mean, it started a few weeks ago, and especially in some areas around here, there were legit concerns because some of them had been approaching young kids, offering them candy or whatever, or doing this and that. The thing is, of course, one of the biggest things your parents tell you when you're growing up, never talk to strangers. And I mean, that these people that put on these creepy clown things, they know the gullibility sometimes of little kids. But this thing has gone too far, 'cause it spread nationwide. And of course, last night, State College, Pennsylvania, instead of rallying for a Penn State Nittany Lions game, they're going around looking for these creepy clowns. Well, you know what? If Halloween's 4 weeks away and this whole thing has gone too far, or maybe too many people have decided to watch the new Poltergeist, I will tell you, why did they remake Poltergeist in the first place? The original one that was executive produced by Steven Spielberg is a legendary horror film. But you know what they're gonna say if there's any more of this creepy clown nonsense that happens? You're not gonna have Heather O'Rourke come back from the dead and say, "You're back." Well, you know what? Enough of this creepy clown stuff. You've already given a lot of little young kid the creeps. Enough is enough. Stop this nonsense. And by the way, who really gives a darn about what happened to Kim Kardashian over there in Paris? Yeah, it was a robbery. Yeah, 5 people came in, drew guns on her, tied her up, and stole $10 million worth of jewelry, including a ring that was given to her by her hubby, Kanye West. Thing is, yeah, I do hope they catch the perpetrators. I do hope they return the jewelry to Kim Kardashian. But the thing is, does anybody really care what happens with Kim Kardashian or her family? They're just famous for pretty much, being airheads. Heck, them, Jersey Shore, all of those shows, So they're just famous for just being wealthy. Of course, what did Kim, what did Khloe, what did Courtney pretty much do to accumulate all that wealth? Show how empty-headed they really are. And of course, everybody knows about Kim. Everybody kind of wonders about her assets, if you know what I mean. But if I really cared about her assets, I'd put my foot right into her keister and say, hey, get a real job. Let's see what it is to really work for a living, if you know what I mean. And I mean, this is another black eye for the police over in Paris. But do they really need more of this stuff going on, especially with all the terrorist attacks that have occurred in Paris and in Nice this year? They need another black eye to worry about. Kim Kardashian, hey, yeah, I do hope they find your jewelry, but we've had enough of you. And you know what? Does anybody give a darn about your keister or your derriere or your wazoo or whatever adjective or whatever thing you want to come up for a person's behind? No, enough is enough. Stay out of the news for a while, would you? And also, tonight is the next debate. Yep, it's Kane and Pence, the VP candidates, who instead of Trump and Clinton. Well, of course, Trump and Clinton are going to have another debate on Sunday. Oh, what we need. More bashing, more going back and forth, more interrupting. That all of us people who can't wait 5 weeks before this is finally over to see. Well, of course, Kane and Pence supposedly are, the better ones. It's going to be more civilized, or so we think. Of course, now everybody's up in arms about Trump's thing, that maybe he hasn't had to pay income taxes for almost 20 years. Well, you know what? Does anybody's tax records supposedly of anybody's concern? Oh, I mean, everybody wants to know everything about the candidates. Hell, we already know that Clinton's a liar, and we already know that Trump sometimes can't open his mouth without putting his foot in it. You know what? In 5 weeks, I'm going to be really relieved. Heck, I'm more concerned sometimes about the races, like who's going to replace Nozzolio, who's retiring, or who's going to be our person in the House of Representatives, or who's going to be on town council. You know what? We've heard about this presidential race for more than a year now. 5 more weeks, and it'll finally be over, thank God. And how about the Ryder Cup this past weekend? Yeah, every 2 years, the United States takes on the best golfers from Europe. It always seems wherever it is, there's a lot of pride. Heck, when they're over in Europe, they always heckle the American golfers. But when they're over here, boy, the Europeans do get heckled. But how about Rory McIlroy taking it a step further? Hell, telling them to toss a fan who decided to heckle him. But it's good when you see the golfers show some emotion. And you know, you always like to see a competition like the Ryder Cup, or in the other years, the President's Cup happen. But you know one thing I'm glad for? The United States finally gets possession of the Ryder Cup again for another 2 years. Of course, we'll see in 2 years when they go back to continental Europe, when they play the Ryder Cup again, how it's going to be, and who's going to be the captain. Davis Love III did a great job as the captain, and of course Tiger Woods was the vice captain. Well, of course, we'll see in 2 years. And last but not least, a great victory by the Bills over the Patriots. Even if some naysayers will say, yeah, they were without Tom Brady. But still, beating New England in Gillette Stadium is a thing. But I wonder, is it the Syracuse Orange or is it the Salvation Army? Look at all the points they gave up immediately against Notre Dame. And of course, they had the one with the biblical name run wild on them. Equanimous St. Brown running wild through the Orange defense. Hey, fundamentals, Orange defense, fundamentals. Speaking of fundamentals, where's the offense for our local teams? Seems as though Minders can't get an offensive touchdown to save its soul. All it got was a touchdown on, I think, a punt return or something against Marcus Whitman. Come on, teach the fundamentals to the Blue Devils. Enough is enough, people. Well, those are my rants for this week, and if anybody's watching the debate, good luck.